This little peppercorn could reforest Madagascar. This is Votsaper fair. It's a rare spice from Madagascar that's closely related to the black pepper that we all have in our kitchens, except Votsaper fair is a much better spice, and more importantly, the Phoenix Conservancy is using it to help save Madagascar's rainforests. In this video, we'll explain how, but first, tag your favorite cooking YouTuber in the comments. We are looking to get the word out about this spice and would love to collaborate. Let's start with what Votsaper fair actually is. Like I said, it's closely related to black pepper, which comes from a plant called Piper nigrum, and Votsaper fair comes from a plant called Piper bourbonense, so they're in the same genus. Votsaper fair, like black pepper, grows as a vine that climbs trees, and it absolutely loves sunshine and is commonly found on forest edges. And I'm going to come back to that. And Votsaper fair is a much better spice than black pepper. It's pineier, it's bolder, it's more floral, even has a bit more heat to it, and it is incredibly versatile. It goes in everything from pasta dishes to desserts and even cocktails, and I highly recommend infusing simple syrups with it. But what makes Votsaper fair really special is that it is endemic to Madagascar's rainforests. This means that demand for Votsaper fair basically translates to demand for more rainforest, and the Phoenix Conservancy is using it as part of our restoration efforts. Our community partners can sustainably harvest and sell the pepper, which brings in income and incentivizes more rainforest planting to get more pepper. Now, that claim about Votsaper fair translating to more rainforest is pretty bold, so let me explain. So the plant itself isn't widely cultivated. All the peppercorns we have were handpicked from the edges of rainforest. They can't be found anywhere else, and they grow best in those conditions. So someone who wants access to Votsaper fair needs to have rainforest around. But you might be asking yourself, what's stopping someone from exploiting this, stopping them from cutting down a bunch of rainforest for a Votsaper fair farm? Those questions are valid, and we share those concerns. But before I get into solutions, I'm going to talk a bit about how people are currently making money. So the options to earn income in the region in Madagascar we work, which is the southeast, are pretty limited. The vast majority of people are subsistence farmers. They eat what they can grow and really not that much else. And in fact, across Madagascar, about 80% of the population are classified as subsistence farmers. In the region we work in, the average annual household income is just $50 per year. That's $50 for an entire family for an entire year. The poverty is oppressive and some of the worst in the world. And these conditions, especially in times of famine, remove choice from people who are just trying to keep their families alive. Cattle ranching is also common in southeastern Madagascar, and people often set the grasslands on fire to restart vegetation growth, which is good forage for cows. Those fires often escape and burn down forest, but cows make more money than forest. Charcoal is a hot commodity in Madagascar, and how most people in cities cook their food. People in rural communities will go into forest and hack limbs off trees or cut down the trees completely to make charcoal to then sell to people who live in cities. Of course, cutting down trees cuts down forest, but charcoal feeds more families than forest does. Meat is often a limited resource. Poaching lemurs, birds, tenerics, other wildlife can feed your family or fetch decent money at markets. Dead lemurs are more valuable than living ones. The bottom line is that people need other ways to earn income, to feed their families. No one wants to harm forest, but people often lack choice. And it's our job to create alternatives, to make forest more valuable standing up than any of the activities that cut it down. More directly, our job is to find ways for people to earn a living through restoration. We are not a humanitarian organization. We don't dig wells, we don't build schools, we don't deliver aid. We are dedicated to the restoration of endangered ecosystems, and we stay focused on that. But restoration isn't possible unless the communities who depend on the ecosystems we are working to restore are also healthy. So our approach in Madagascar is to create restoration-based economic engines. If people can earn income, feed their families through restoration, not only is there no incentive to cut down or harm forest, there's actually incentive to plant more. And for that to be successful, there needs to be value at every stage of the restoration process. First, current forest needs to be protected, new trees need to be planted, and people need to get paid. And since 2019, we've hired over 6,000 people locally to help us with those efforts. And by the way, in that time, people have completely stopped setting fires near the boundary of Ivui Bor, the forest that we are working to restore. And as those trees that have been planted grow, they need to provide economic value, so there's incentive not to cut them down. One of the ways those trees can provide value is through Votes Pair Fair, since that spice can be planted to grow on those trees. The other way is that the trees themselves are valuable. And the best example of this is Sakua, which is also called marula in mainland Africa. Sakua produces hundreds of kilograms of fruit per tree per year when they are mature. And they start producing at around 3 to 5 years of age. Those fruits contain seeds that are rich in oil that is highly valued in the skincare and cosmetics industries. And people can harvest and extract those seeds to get that oil from fruits that would normally just rot on the ground. So this way, there's no incentive to cut down the trees that the Votes Pair Fair is growing on. But as reforestation progresses, conditions will become a bit unfavorable for Votes Pair Fair and Sakua, since those species like more open environments, not closed canopy forest. Plus, dense forest is just harder to access than open savanna. This means there needs to be value in having the forest continue to grow instead of being maintained to maximize Votes Pair Fair and Sakua production. And this is where ecotourism and carbon sequestration and biodiversity accreditation come into play, among other things. But people will still want to earn income through Votes Pair Fair and Sakua, and our approach incentivizes continuous expansion of that reforestation process. And if someone doesn't want to hike all the way up to where we're doing this restoration work with Votes Pair Fair and Sakua, they can just plant those species by their homes. And in fact, that's exactly what we want. The more native species that are planted without our direct involvement, the better. That is the system we are building. But why would you cut down forest to farm Votes Pair Fair when you could have standing forest that has all the other values that I've already talked about, on top of increasing soil water retention, reducing droughts, and making your rice and cattle farming more productive? Why exploit Votes Pair Fair when there are so many other ways restoration can support you, your family, and your community? I mean, Ivui Bor, the forest we're working to restore, is the only source of drinking water for the people in the region around it. They can't afford to lose the forest. But building an incentive structure is not everything. There does need to be oversight. And currently, as a public nonprofit, everything we do is open. We are platinum certified for transparency from GuideStar, but we also don't want to be the only ones overseeing all of this. That's why we work with local community leaders, as well as a variety of local and international organizations. Together, we can guard against exploitation and ensure that the projects benefit the communities the most. The income generated by these activities will go directly into people's pockets and create funds that communities can use to improve their roads, build schools, build health clinics. They can get access to electricity and internet. They can survive famines. And our goal is for all of this to become self-sustaining and independent. We don't want to be managing this forever. We'll fully hand everything off to communities in the next 20 years. And for that to work, communities need to be involved the entire time. We regularly sit down with community leaders to discuss their needs and how we can best meet them through restoration. We're open about our own goals. We listen to feedback, and we could not be more thrilled with the success we've had so far. If you'd like to contribute to those efforts, you can donate in the links in the description. And monthly donors can even get a sample of Votes Pair Fair as a thank you gift. If you'd like to buy it outright, you can visit World Spice Merchant's website. They have been a wonderful partner. And if you live in the inland Northwest, you can visit Lodgepole in Moscow, Idaho, where they have it in some of their dishes and drinks. So that's a brief overview of how we're using Votes Pair Fair to restore rainforest in Madagascar. In future videos, we'll do a full breakdown of our program in Madagascar, including more details about our project site in Ivui Bor Forest. Thanks for watching.